I didn't quit sugar because I suddenly became disciplined. I quit sugar because I realised something that took me years to see. Every time I tried to cut back, I wasn't reducing the problem, I was keeping it alive. And moderation, the thing everyone calls healthy, was the reason I stayed stuck for so long. This took me years to understand because moderation looks responsible. It looks balanced. It looks like what a grown adult is supposed to do. And I had all the rules in place for myself. Only on weekends, dark chocolate only, just after meals, only the quality stuff. And I followed those rules, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months. I'd feel proud of myself and then quietly I'd start negotiating. Not in an overly dramatic way, just little calculations. Does tonight count? Will 1 square turn into 3? Does after dinner mean now if I eat something savoury first? Discipline wasn't the missing piece, understanding the brain was. The problem with moderation is it never actually ends the conversation. As long as sugar is still in your life, even occasionally, your brain is still having a conversation about it. And that conversation is exhausting. It's background noise. It's the mental energy spent deciding whether today is the day you allow yourself to have it. It's never actually being off. That's not freedom. You're just managing. And managing something addictive doesn't heal it. It keeps it active. I know this because I lived it. I was a pastry chef for 15 years, trained at Le Cordon Bleu, worked in Michelin-star kitchens, and every single day I was surrounded by sugar. Chocolate glazes, caramel, frozen inserts, fruit mousses, elements of desserts people would photograph before they ate them. And I had professional rules. I'm just tasting for quality control. I'm not eating full portions. I'm doing my job. Usually it started small. A spoonful of caramel mid-morning, a bite of cake at lunch, a sliver of tart in the afternoon. Then I'd go home and tell myself I'd been good all day because I hadn't eaten a full dessert. My brain didn't care about rules. It just registered one thing. Sugar showed up today, which meant it might show up again tomorrow. So stay alert, stay ready. And it never stood down. This is the part most people miss. When you eat sugar, your brain releases dopamine. That's not a moral issue, it's chemistry. Dopamine marks something as important, and when that signal keeps coming in, the brain adapts, quietly and efficiently. It reduces sensitivity, so what used to feel like a treat starts to feel like maintenance. What used to be enough becomes not quite enough. And here's the key point. That process doesn't care about your rules. It doesn't care if it's only weekends. It doesn't care if it's organic raw honey instead of white sugar. All it knows is that the loop is still open and the pathway is still active. This isn't addiction at its loudest, it's addiction at its most ordinary, and moderation is how it stays alive. What changed for me wasn't willpower, it was exhaustion. I just got tired of thinking about sugar. So I simply stopped negotiating. No sugar, no sometimes, no exceptions. And the first few days were rough. I was irritable and anxious. I couldn't concentrate properly. But around day 6, something happened. The noise stopped. Not gradually, it just stopped. I walked into the same kitchen I'd worked in for years, surrounded by the same desserts, and I felt nothing. No cravings or persistent mental bargaining. And that's when it clicked. Freedom didn't feel like discipline. It felt like silence. When you actually remove sugar, not reduce it, not manage it, but remove it, your brain gets time. Time to reset. Time for those pathways to calm down. Time for your baseline to come back up. And when that happens, you don't need sugar to feel normal anymore. You just feel normal. And that's what recovery actually feels like. And the reason moderation never worked for me is because it never gave my brain that time. Moderation didn't stop the process. It just slowed it down. And slowing it down isn't the same as ending it. As long as sugar stayed in the picture, my brain stayed engaged. So if you try to quit and keep going back, that doesn't mean you're lacking control. It's what happens when the brain never gets a clean break and you were trying to manage something your brain had already adapted to. And no amount of just a little bit was ever going to give you enough relief. I'm not saying this to shame anyone who's trying moderation. I believed in it for years. I thought going cold turkey was extreme and unsustainable. But what I learned is that what feels extreme in the first week becomes effortless once the internal noise stops. And what feels balanced and sensible can keep you trapped for years. My brain didn't do moderation, it did adaptation. And freedom required removal. It meant stopping the cycle instead of micromanaging it. If this resonated, the next thing that really helped me was understanding what sugar does in the brain beyond just craving, the wider metabolic picture. I've made a longer video breaking that down properly. I'll link it on the screen here. And if you want somewhere to think this through without pressure, no judgment, no hype, the Sugar Reset community is in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.